Not supposed to happen like that, actually. So, sorry. Looks like we got a little bit mixed up with the inputs for today's audio. Anyways, plenty to talk about today as Bitcoin does bounce $6,000 from the low. And you know what? Things might never be the same again. Things might never be the same as Bitcoin might have indeed put in the next major, massive, absolutely monstrous fucking low. But as we go into today's video, I'm actually a little bit skeptical of that as of right now. I see a lot of familiar faces in here as well. Good morning to everyone out there in cryptocurrency land. It is a good time to be here because we're here and we're queer. For TA, exactly. And stop laughing. Good morning from Wyoming. Nice, man. Good morning from Helsinki. Probably similar temperature right now. Yes, Elsa is... she's going to be driving herself today. No, she cannot be driving. If you see her drive in Grand Theft Auto, it's over, man. It's fucking over. It cannot be happening right there. Anyways, what about Mario Kart? Actually, you're quite good. I'm actually very, very surprised. Mario Kart, you're very, very good, but Mario Kart and Grand Theft Auto are two different levels of realism there. Anyways, before we get into this, I do want to have a massive public service announcement. So we've had, I love that people are using the chatbot, the AI chatbot in the Quant program, in the Quant Prime service. But I do need to send out a public service announcement to please stop trying to have sexual relationships with my bot. And maybe this is my fault, honestly, because I gave it a woman's name, but like, I should probably just name it Harry or something. It's going to be much more difficult to talk dirty to that if we make the necessary changes. But anyways, before we get into today's video, there are a few housekeeping things I do suspect. Hey, what's up, Stylistical, Mr. Captain Buzzkill? It's been a long time, man. Good morning to you. I haven't seen your face in a minute, in a couple minutes, actually. Anyways, prayers for those affected in California. Indeed, man, it is just absolutely fucking unbelievable what happened there. I mean, I have a lot of friends who live in Southern California, and none of them so far, I think, have at least told me that they were affected personally. But I mean, shit, man, just even if they weren't affected, I mean, there's a shit ton of people who were affected. And just, it blows my mind that, like, under no fault of your own, you can just have everything burned away and gone for forever, and there's not shit you can fucking do about it. It's just awful, man. It's fucking awful. But yeah, this is Eric Krown's crypto channel, and we talk about, very serious topics like that, and then also I guess AIs, which is going to be the next big thing. AI agents, sexual AI agents is what I want to invest in as much as possible right now, because I believe in the technology. I really do. Anyways, it was a hard wank, but we made it happen, says Mr. Incredible. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. When institutional money. That's right. The institutions are coming, therefore up, right? Indeed. Or are they already here? I don't remember. Quant AI girlfriend. Maybe I should just start selling AI chatbots for fucking, I guess. It could work. I could see it working, like an OnlyFans, but just complete AI. It's a genius idea. Honestly, I shouldn't even be talking about it on stream because I should just be executing on something like this. But I'm not going to do that because I don't have the technical know-how to do it. But if you want to work on it, well, I'm happy to invest in that. Erica Krown Nano Cave says, I believe in AI sexual relations. Yes, indeed. Me as well. And we are proud to be gay, as always. Anyways, good morning to Mr. Alex Switch, a good friend and a good man over there in Greece, one of the best places in all of the whole damn world. Anyways, what else do we have here before we get into this one? I do want to give probably at least another 5, maybe even 10 minutes for people to join on in. I do expect that today's stream might be a little bit more busy than usual. But another one of those streams, and I know I say this nearly every fucking time we have a live stream, but today, again, as usual, the big value for me in these live streams is seeing all of these nameless fucking shitcoins that I never look at and seeing, are they suggesting any one way in particular? Remember last week we were looking at altcoins and it was just in general, okay, so not all of them, but about 90% of them were, looking bearish. So it did give it a little bit of a buys to the downside. I'm curious to see if we see the same thing today, because this bounce, while it has been, a decent percentage bounce and just nominal bounce, it hasn't really done anything of significance yet. Doesn't mean that it can't, but to me, it's still highly questionable as of today. But today is a really important day, because depending upon where Bitcoin's price action closes, which we'll go over in a little bit, that would make me really entertain the possibility that, the low perhaps isn't, and at least a continuation of a nice upside move, perhaps all the way to 99 or $100,000. And if the other situation is, I guess, confirmed, well, then that would actually confirm some downside, another minimum downside target. But they're all well and far away. We have a long day left to trade. 14 hours, 53 minutes, and 48 seconds left and counting. I see a lot of super chats already coming in through. That's awesome, man. Bear Nutrition, good morning to you as well. I'm having my morning caffeine too. Had to hobble my way over there. I think I broke my Achilles tendon or something. I don't know what's going on, but it really my left ankle really fucking hurts. Someone stepped on it during boxing sparring a couple days ago, and just has not felt the same since, man. Anyways, fart coin or butthole coin? Is there a butthole coin? Is the real question. I am actually, I'm curious enough to look. I'm guessing it's going to be probably only here. Indeed, there is butt coin on Solana. It's butt coin and fart coin. I mean, I think Bitcoin has more potential, just that it's lower market cap. I mean, that is $2.25 million market cap. That is really fucking low. Fartcoin, however, let's see. Where's my farts at? Or whoops, probably doesn't need to be typed like that. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, 1 billion market cap for Fartcoin. Holy shit. Holy shit. And it does look to be entering into a bit of a downtrend here. At least we do see some lower lows, not lower highs just yet, but this bounce, if it does top out anywhere below, I guess 109, whatever the fuck that number is, that's going to be a lower high. And that would be rather concerning for my fart coins. Are you telling me that my fart coins might not be great? No, I would never suggest such things. That is not within the scope of a channel like this. We only talk about, I will pin your message if you desire. We can do it over here. Elsa and I watched this really crazy, we found this Finnish channel on YouTube yesterday night, which was it was such a fucking gem, man. And I realize that there's literally no Finnish people watching this right now. Okay, and by no people, I mean there's 2. But for the 2 people who are watching, there's this great channel called, what was it, Off Topic or something? It was called off topic something. I don't remember the exact name. It was really, really good. But they were following this Finnish guy who's just if you think BitBoy is entertaining because of his antics, you have not seen shit. This guy on fucking live stream. All of this is live stream. He's been evicted 3 times. He's been arrested a couple times. He tried to fucking light his house on fire for some reason. I don't know why. He's constantly trying to rape his male friends on video. I don't know what's going on there, but it's very disturbing. Very fucking disturbing. But that's Finland. Finland is Finland, in their ultimate and wisest levels of compassion, looks at a person like this and says, he needs help, and we should just give him money so that he can live on his own, and maybe he'll figure this out over some long period of time. Well, I don't know about that strategy, Finland. You guys are fucking up. But that's the thing. Finland, they have a lot of great things, but they have not figured out the crime thing, at least not yet. Jesus Christ, man. It's he's also drunk all the time. He's literally drunk all the time. I think that kind of goes without saying, or just on some sort of drugs. Who knows what the hell is going on there? It's I really couldn't tell you, man. It was actually entertaining as fuck to watch, but at the same time, I'm I kind of feel bad for this guy. This guy is, I mean, how are you ever going to do anything ever in life? I guess it doesn't really matter if the government just continues to give you money, enough money. I mean, they give everyone basically a place to live here. And it's not a bad place. I mean, it's not that, the nicest place of all time, but for, if you're used to a typical New York apartment, it's probably better than that. I'll tell you that. Can he share? I guess, depending upon what you want to share, sir. Mr. Mitch the Permabull says, whatever happened to the Krown Crypto Cave intro song? song? It was, what are you talking about? We just played it. Or are you talking about the other one? There is another one, but I actually stopped playing it because I got a copyright strike from the guy who made it, even though he made it for me, because like he has, I guess, a music agency who goes around YouTube and makes sure that, you know, no one else is using it or infringing on that. So I've kind of like shied away from using it since then, just because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to get hit with another copyright, as that, you know, just sucks. Anyways, proper channel name, sir. I want to see. Okay, I can actually probably find this because it is certainly within my histories here. So let me just pull back to this. This actually was incredible. It was Offbeat Files. Here you go. Okay, yeah, here you go. Is this guy right here? It's such a good channel. If you're bored at night and you just want something to entertain you, where was it? This guy was the best one, I think. God, there's so much weird shit going on here. I can't find the exact. Oh yes, it was this guy right here. World's most degenerate streamer, Oopie's insane story. I guess his name is Oopie, and he really truly is insane. I will say, like that is a confirmed fact, I think. Anyways, I think we're just about ready to start the actual stream. I'll give it maybe another minute or two. Looks like we got about 746 people watching right now, which is good. 25 likes on the video, which is not good, but the ratio, maybe it can improve. We need a better guy to guy ratio. That's like 120. Oh, okay. Well, maybe mine just has not updated right there. Maybe it's more like 120, which is pretty good, actually. What's up, Mr. Nimbo? Good morning to you as well, sir. Yes, greetings, simps and vegans. May the dildos not hurt too much at this time of year. At least not the wrong type and color of dildo, but the show will go on, I suppose. I like your intro song now. Awesome, man. Yeah, I love it too. One of the guys in the community here who is a legitimate music producer made it, and it's just great, man. I fucking love it, as well as the opening intro graphics too. But unfortunately, the man who made that, who was a pretty good friend, he's no longer with us, and so I need to find someone else to carry on with that legacy. Maybe I can hit up Faraz to do something like that. I think he has the skills, but maybe not the time right now. But we'll figure out some over a long enough period of time. Indeed. Caress the likes, says Mr. Iron Meta. I appreciate that, sir. Caress the likes, indeed. I'm here. You can begin, says Ram Power. Ram Power. Great name, sir. Great name, indeed. Smash the likes. Lobotomites, says Matthew Smith. Yes, lobotomies for everyone, and myself first. All right, let me polish off this coffee, then we'll get into it. All right. I see a lot of Japanese characters as well, which is cool, man. I'm glad that Japanese people are here. They are just, for whatever reason, Japanese people are just born with some sort of innate coolness, I guess. They're just, I'm going to say it, man. They're better than us, honestly. I think they're better than us, to be honest. Anyways. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about Bitcoin here. I wanted to follow up on the CME analysis where we're looking at that red 5 exponential average versus the yellow 21 exponential average. Again, the McDonald's indicators right here. And anytime that we've seen that cross the downside while both being above that green moving average, the 55 exponential, we've seen a minimum correction down to the 55. With the advent of yesterday's price action, we have indeed seen down to this first minimum corrective target. I'm not saying that things are over right now. I still have, personally, I have a lot of reservations with what's going on right now. There are very specific things that I want to see by the end of the close tonight in order to confirm that Bitcoin at least is in for a big bounce and maybe even the low is in. But for right now, that first minimum target has been met. Again, if you're not familiar with this setup, it's something that you can kind of follow in the future, although it doesn't happen super often. But here's all the prior instances in the last few years where we've seen that cross happen, and every fucking time in CME's history, we've seen at least a minimum correction to the 55, and in many cases, a little bit lower than that as well. Like you see over here, pretty much in almost all of these instances, to be honest. But it is a minimum target right there. So that has been met. So what can I say about that? That gives the green light to entertain the possibility of perhaps, the next major massive low being in. But as we'll go over in the next chart right here. No, where is it? Yes, right here. As we'll go over right here, Bitcoin's actually in danger of getting the 2-day time frame to do the same thing. And the 2-day time frame has the same sort of interpretation as the daily. Pretty much all instances in Bitcoin's history have had a minimum correction down to the 55 if those moving averages confirm across. Here's the thing though, these moving averages have not confirmed across just yet on the 2-day time frame. It will confirm across tonight, however, if Bitcoin closes below, and this is like my main level for today, about 95,000, about 95,000 bucks. Yeah. Anywhere below 95 or even 95 and maybe a small amount of change there, we will see those officially cross the downside. And that would make me more biased towards, things could kind of bounce a little bit more here, but still I'd be looking for that minimum target to the downside to be met. And at current pace, the 55 is at 87,150. Of course, each and every day it will move up a slight amount, but for right now, that's where it's at. And so if we were to confirm that cross, I would generally be looking for at least one more test down around there, so slightly lower than what we're currently looking at right now, to entertain the possibility of the low being in, if you want to call it that. So again, line in the sand right now is about 95,000 bucks on spot price action, especially below 95,000 bucks. I am quite, skeptical of what's going on right now. Above 95,000 bucks, that keeps bounce hopes alive to the upside. Bitcoin can easily bounce, if it wants, like 97 to 98,000 bucks. And then we come back to it after that. I mean, that's really what it hinges upon mostly for today. Now, that is all secondary to the real analysis, which I've been hiding from you this whole time. This whole time I've been hiding a massive secret here, and it is the moon phases. The moon phases are coming back again. In fact, on yesterday's low, we did see a full moon fire off. If you have been following this, if you have not been following this, and if you're not familiar to this, I would humbly request that before judging this, just look at the results, because I know intuitively for many people, and myself included when I first started looking at this stuff, you want to look at the moons and shit like that is just completely fucking irrelevant. But if we were to look at setups where you simply just long when the full moon, occurs, and then close when you get the next, full moon, and then the other type of moon, new moon. Yeah, new moon. These would have been your results over. Let me actually see how far back this goes. I think the full history actually. No, this goes back to 2016. We can actually do the full history test here on Bitcoin. Let's actually do that right now and just see what that would spit out. If those results are still, consistent, or if 2016 kind of changes things around. No, it is still pretty consistent right there. Yeah. In terms of whether things are likely to close positively or negatively, well, it is slightly in favor of positive closures at about 58%. See what the performance summary says. Average winning trade. Okay, that is very interesting. I guess just the last 8 years versus the whole history is very, very similar here. But the average winning trade returned about almost 11.5%. The average losing trade losing almost 7%. So, that gives us areas of interest for the next 2 weeks, because these happen on like a 2-week schedule or a 14-day schedule. And so what would that look like? Well, to the upside, seeing as we already have the open right here, to the upside, 14% or so puts you basically at all-time highs for Bitcoin, or at the prior all-time high. So if we see Bitcoin really threaten a bounce here, I mean, that is in the cards. That is not, I guess unreasonable to kind of expect, again, within the next 13 days from today. And of course, to the downside, 7% would put Bitcoin where? That'd put Bitcoin actually directly on that 55 exponential average that we looked at earlier, right here, if it were to play out to the downside at about 88 to 87,000 bucks or so. So again, that is why I do want to keep an open mind with this, or one of the reasons why I want to keep an open mind with this. Of course, this does have a slightly higher probability to play out the upside versus the downside. Doesn't mean that every time it's going to be upside. Obviously, the last one that we looked at, to be fair, did produce new all-time highs, but ultimately this one did obviously close with a loss. The one before that was a decent win, I guess, right there. And then we had 1, 2, 3, 4 losses in a row. Before that, we had like 6 wins in a row, so we'll see what happens, I suppose. I'm going to polish off the rest of this caffeine right here, and then we'll get into the last portion of this Bitcoin's analysis. So One last thing here, or I guess a couple last things here. So not only is $95,000 a very, very important level for just those moving averages that we looked at on the 2-day time frame, but also 2-day time frame stochastic momentum will close and turn back onto the downside within the bearish control zone here if today closes below 94,750. So now that kind of gives us like a nice little range, meaning that if Bitcoin closes below 94,750, then obviously both of those conditions are confirmed. I would say I would look at that as a compounding factor to suggest that Bitcoin very likely does play out another move to the downside. So again, 94,750, that is like, that's not the line in the sand. That is like that is the red fucking line in the sand, the thin red line. And of course, as long as Bitcoin's above there, I mean, again, that does open up the potential for this move continuing, I guess, to the upside. Daily time frame is going to see momentum turn back up here as long as Bitcoin's above 92. So that looks safe for right now. But all other higher term time frames are still kind of down here. 3-day time frame still showing 93,300. That one closes tomorrow, so not super relevant for today. And then the 5-day time frame also closing tomorrow is going to be continuing downside here. I think no matter which way you kind of cut it, as long as Bitcoin's below 103. Other than that, there are a couple very last minute things here. One of them is going to be looking at the lower term time frame. So now understand that we're looking at lower term time frames. We're not looking at a 2-day time frame. We're not looking at it even a daily. We're looking at a 6-hour time frame right here. But it does deserve to be known that there is bullish divergence coming off of these last few lows here. We do see a very slight amount of bullish divergence on yesterday's low, and then also all of these lows. Okay, let me just do this chart right here. 1, 2, 3, and 4 do go along the same sort of drives of divergence here, because you see that first low on 20th of December making a much lower low on the RSI. So there is some good, I shouldn't say that there's some good things. There are good things suggesting that Bitcoin could very easily bounce here. It's just, I would put that line in the sand and be skeptical personally of this being the low until we see those conditions that we just outlaid met, which we'll know by the end of today. If Bitcoin closes below those numbers, it makes it very easy for me. Bitcoin closes above, I would be looking for an extension of this bounce. Like I said, can easily come up to 99 or even $100,000. And then, Bitcoin probably just continues on with the overall range. So we'll see, I suppose. And I suppose that we do see, one of these major targets hit, I guess, between now and like the last couple of days of January. That's kind of the time frame that we're looking at for this move to happen, whether it happens to the upside or the downside. We're looking about 13, 14 days from now. So that puts us at the 28th-ish of this month of January. So yeah, that's where I'll leave things for today. Let's now get into some of the comments over here. Let me just get rid of some of my charts because they're not super relevant to what I suspect we're going to be going over. And like I said, today is going to be a very interesting day for myself just to see, what are the altcoins looking like? Are the altcoins showing, strong bounces? Are they reversing trends? If they are, that would also be a good sign and kind of help out or at least round out the overall, analysis. Anyways, I'll bring up the comments over here. It looks like Elsa already has a bunch of them in. Mr. P Poo is looking at based fart coin. Based fart coin. Is this a new thing? Based fart? Okay, maybe it's just fart coin. Okay. that would be another good meme to bring up.
No, you forgot the
What?
first ones.
No, I'm looking at the first one, you fuck. It's fart coin.
No, before the
Oh, okay, I see. All right, fine. Just all right. All right, Steven Schickman wants to look at doggy coin, doggy USD. Weekly, monthly, any bullish divergence? Is there any bullish divergence on this thing? Well, we'll go to the timeframes that you asked for. I mean, no, there's not, but it's no, there's not. there are no divergences here to be spoken of. Not even bearish divergence, actually. So if we want to see any sort of potential divergences, I think we'd have to go down to a much lower time frame. Daily time frame right here, obviously, is not going to have divergences because doggy coin did not make new lows, which actually is kind of a sign of strength. I mean, Bitcoin made new lows and doggy coin did not. In fact, it's well above 30 cents. 30 cents would still be sort of my line in the sand for not wanting to see closures below on a daily time frame or higher time frame, for example. But yeah, holding in there actually relatively better than I mean, better than Bitcoin, to be fair, which is very, very interesting to me. So there's I guess, one good thing. You're also looking at Ethereum too. Same question. Any bullish divergences? Now, Ethereum certainly did make new lows on yesterday's Dumpola party. And do we have higher lows on the daily RSI? No, we do not. And you're looking at the weekly, so that's significantly higher term time frame than the daily. So very unlikely it's going to be happening there as well. And certainly it is not. And the monthly, obviously, is just, well, it's just kind of nothing right now. I mean, it's still above that red 5, but that's if I was just looking at Ethereum, yeah, I'd be bearish here. You're about to, but you do have the silver cross to the downside. You're below all major moving averages. Sure, there's probably going to be a bounce intraday here, probably to like 32.25 region. But as long as this thing's below, especially the 55 now, I look at that as not good, not good. But of course, if Bitcoin picks it up here, then you're probably going to see something like this pick it up as well. So fair enough. Anyways, let's go down now. Now we are at Mr. Peepoo, and he wants to look at Fartcoin. Fartcoin for Mr. Peepoo. Okay. All right, no problem. This is crypto, so it all makes sense anyways, I guess. Anyways, Fartcoin here. Again, another really good, much better than Bitcoin in terms of bounce. Still not confirming any sort of continuation of trend here, as it does have a lower low, but not a lower high just yet. So it's kind of in limbo as far as I'm concerned. No obvious signal on this one. I'm looking for something that's okay. 2-day time frame. Yeah, the 2-day time frame, which is closing tonight. If that one closes above that red 5, which is 98 cents, 98 and a quarter actually, which right now is trading above, you will confirm this hidden bullish divergence right here. And at that point, I'd probably be looking for another move to the top side of the range, or sorry, not the top side of the range, but the prior highs or around there. So that could be 135 to 140-ish region, let's say. And then potential for more as well. But yeah, for all intents and purposes and all jokes aside, I mean, it does hold an uptrend on the higher term timeframes, at least for the history that we do have. And a very obvious way to be looking at this one as a failure would be if it just even trades below yesterday's low. If you see that, okay, yeah, it's wrecked. But until then, this would actually be an example of something on the better side of things, especially as long as it's above, again, about 98 and a quarter, 98 and a half cents would be my line in the sand right there. For Hopium, Hopium remains alive as long as you're above there. If you're below there on a daily closing basis, starts to get a lot more questionable, I suppose. Anyways, moving on, we have Calamity. He says, Sir Quaint, Cass, daily, weekly, okay? All right, fair enough. Caspa right here. Does have bullish divergence coming off of this last low on the daily time frame, I should add as well. I do think that this one could trade up towards 13 cents or a little bit above 13 cents. Daily Jewel is looking like it's actually going to fire off a decent signal right there. Maybe not like the super powerful signal, but a decent signal nonetheless. You are playing off of the last essential lows. Same shit as what we said last week, I believe. You're more likely to bounce off of a region like this than not. The question is, does the bounce turn into reversal? Well, as of right now, I'm sure that you do have the potential for, indeed, you do have the potential for a higher low in the 5-day time frame, but of course, this one does not really get confirmed as, I guess, long-term good as long as it's below about 15 cents. Above 15 cents, okay, yeah, very, very good. And very likely to play back up towards the prior highs and probably make new highs. But for right now, it is having a stronger bounce in Bitcoin. It's just even on your lower term timeframes, you're still working on down trends, which is concerning to me. I mean, until we actually see trends flip on, at least a 4-hour, 6-hour time frame, I'm gonna be skeptical as fuck on these things. But this would be an example of something that's acting a little bit more strong actually in the short term. And just looking at the higher term time frames, I do think it's a lot less likely for this thing to break down here than not. I think at least you go sideways for a while. So that's kind of my take on that. Basically the same thing as last week when we looked at it. Ray now says, hope you're doing well. Thanks, man. I hope you're doing well as well. Sir, weekly and daily for BNB BTC. Yeah, people have been bringing up BNB coin a lot recently. In the comments, I do see. I don't really look at it myself too much. I kind of forgot that it even exists, but we do have several higher lows right here. You do not have higher highs though, so that's again always questionable. The weekly is working on a higher low, so fair enough. Let's see what the monthly looks like. Monthly is in massive limbo right here because this is either the low or you're about to drop off the face of a cliff. I'm curious. I know you didn't ask about it, but I want to look at something that's maybe a little bit more obvious, which would be the US dollar pairing. Yeah, that chart looks infinitely different than the Bitcoin pairing. And the daily time frame remains in an uptrend. So, another example of something a little bit more on the strong side. I think this kind of helps out the overall upside case with the lows being in. But again, I'll still hold off full on judgment until we get, a decent sample size of these altcoins. But for this one right here, respect the trend. And yeah, very easy to manage something like this, because if you take out yesterday's low, okay, then you have a reversal. Until then, you can treat it as, as a major low. I mean, it's very, very easy setup to kind of play if that's how you're looking at it, and playing the trend. But, going to the weekly, like long term, this is fine. This is good. It's just, do we get an extended correction down below $600 before another major try to the upside or not? If I look at the monthly, I think less likely. I think this one actually probably does work its way sideways and up from here, to be honest with you. But that will massively and very quickly change around if this thing does take out the 5 exponential here, which is about 650. So if you do see a correction below 600, I mean, that would be my reversal signal for the higher term timeframes. And, at that point, you're probably going to see $500, maybe lower. But until then, respect the trend. Anyways, moving on, we have GP. He says DIA coin. Okay, it's a new one. I can't say I've ever seen this one before in my life, but yeah, okay. It's about as you would expect. Did not make new lows on yesterday's dump as well, which is interesting. So showing a little bit of relative strength compared to Bitcoin. We do see it is in one massive range with the lows at around 57 cents and the highs coming in right around here at about just above $1. It is in a downturn right now, to be fair, but short term, this thing can easily bounce to 70, 75 cents and still be on a lower high. Anything below last week's high, which is 82 and a quarter cents almost, is another lower high. So I just kind of mark off this area right here. As long as you're below here, I'd be kind of more skeptical about it. But it should have a bounce here, and just I guess we see how far it gets up on this bounce. 5-day time frame. That's kind of like the last chance for love, in my opinion. I don't know. If this market is bullish, I guess you kind of have to start to look at current price lows as likely the lows, or very, very close to the lows. Maybe they get retested again, but yeah, difficult correction. I mean, things really have gotten a lot more complicated in the last, I would say, 3 weeks now. But looking at this, I'd be looking for an extension of this bounce, but just, again, be aware that anything below this region right here still does set it up for potentially lower prices. Looking for some sort of more obvious signals here. 4-hour time frame. The problem is that if the 4-hour time frame stalls out here and comes back down below about 65 cents and closes below there, then this would be a confirmed local high, which would also be a lower high, and you'd have several drives of hidden bearish divergence here. So that'd be another retest of the lows at least. But yeah, that's just a 4-hour time frame. Doesn't really matter a whole hell of a lot for the daily, to be fair. Anyways, moving on, we have Big Bull. He says, Grass US, you are the king of finding new shitcoins, sir. Like, where do you find, you always have new ones. You always have, I'm impressed, honestly. It's very, very impressive. I'm trying to find an exchange that makes sense. MEXC probably is it. This thing has more history than what I would have expected, but not a lot, which is October. And again, another altcoin here, another shitcoin that's in an uptrend, to be fair. I mean, we do still see higher lows the whole way through. Yes, there was a lower high right here, but without lower lows, I'm not like super concerned just yet. And similar to some of the other ones that we looked at today, there's a very easy and obvious way to be managing something like this. You can be bullish on it, or you can do whatever the fuck you want, but I can be bullish on it as long as it's above yesterday's low. Last day's low. Yesterday's low is what I mean to say. Again, respect the trend here, and you do have, what appears to be higher lows going the whole way through. So I'm always going to like that. It's just, that those higher lows get destroyed if this thing, Fartcoin, Grasscoin comes below yesterday's low. So very, very easy way to be managing something like this. Looking at momentum, I'll say this, I'm not really seeing anything of significant interest here just because I think it's a little bit too new. Short term probably pulls back a bit, has the same sort of issue as the last one that we looked at with hidden bearish evidence on, very low term timeframes. I don't know if that's relevant to you or not, though. Or you're asking about it daily, so probably not. Anyways, you're looking at Ondo as well. Okay, daily, weekly, higher timeframes. All right, I like it. Makes things a little bit easier, especially when they have a lot more, history. Definitely on the weaker side. This one already in the process of confirming what appears to be the next lower high. Obviously, it's still, still has another 15 minutes left to confirm. But yeah, here closing here or lower in the next 15 minutes. Short term, I'd be expecting another test of the downside. If that happens daily, yeah. See, this is what I'm concerned with a lot of things. Like if I see this sort of shit on a lot of the shitcoins that we look at today, that's going to make me quite bearish. This would be a good example. I mean, you're having a silver cross to the downside. You're below all major moving averages, and this is like a classic move that I see a lot. You will see this move so fucking often during major corrections or during major washouts, and it just it fucking kills people. And I understand why, because people will look at yesterday's close and be like, okay, it's a hammer dildo. And it is, to be fair, but I don't find that these things work out that often unless if they reclaim on that hammer dildo some major, at least one of the major moving averages. In fact, this one has not, at least not yet. It's a long day left to go, but as long as this thing's below 1.25 or 123 for that matter, this one wants to break down further, and it will if Bitcoin plays at any sort of a downside move. So I would be aware of that. To be fair, yeah. I mean, clear and obvious downturn going on right here. I'm curious what the higher term timeframes look like. Here's your monthly. It's like if this thing is going to survive long term, it absolutely must hold above 110. Let's call it. So. We'll see, I guess, but I'd put this one certainly in the more weaker category of things. Again, it's a long day left to go. I do want to give things a chance to bounce and potentially prove themselves, but this thing must hold above yesterday's low at all costs. And even there, I mean, I really don't want to see it come down much further than where it's currently at. It's got to show some signs of life here with a bounce. And right now, even on the lower term timeframes, there's actually potential for hidden bearish divergence. So not the best sign. Definitely not the strongest thing we've seen today. If I see a lot, like I said, if I see a lot of shit like this, I'm gonna be taking a much more bearish tone by the end of the day. Calamity says top quant, top G, top Q, ALU daily, weekly, bullish above 14 or 15. Let's see. That's actually a really specific question, which is a really cool way to actually handle these things. I think that's where I can probably provide a little bit more value as well. Wow. Really fucking good compared to almost everything that we've seen today. Clearly another higher low on the daily, already trading well above yesterday's high. And I mean, this thing is setting up for continuation. This thing wants to rally very strong. Weekly, same shit. And again, can I be wrong on this? Yes, absolutely. But there's a very obvious way to know if I'm wrong on this. And it is this. If you trade below yesterday's low, okay, this thing is coming down much lower. It's probably going to see, well below 10 cents. But until then, I mean, I would be treating this as a major low right here. This thing, if the market permits it and doesn't fucking fall apart in the short term, this thing will make new highs. Let me just double check. Okay, maybe not new all-time highs, but it'll make new highs, from this current rally that you've seen over the last few months. So. Yeah, an example of a strong one right here. This is going to be a hard day today because I can already feel it. There's, we're not seeing obvious things amongst all of the shitcoins today. Does make things a little bit more difficult, at least for me. Anyways, you're asking if it's bullish above 14 or 15. I mean, to me, this is fine, right? Anything above 13 cents is fine. You're above all major moving averages. You're still in an uptrend. That's upside as far as I'm concerned. It's just. Is this thing going to survive if the rest of the market comes down? That's a big fucking if, but probably not. But we'll see. I mean, it didn't even make new lows from December lows on yesterday's dump. So it is relatively strong. I mean, that's actually another good example of a good one. The good ones. Daniel says, fart coin 4-hour daily. I think we already looked at that one, so we're all good there. People love their farts. I love my farts too. Lander Bayer says, hello, sir. Goog on the weekly, please. Okay. Let's check this one out. Mr. Google, Alphabet Incorporated. I was looking at a fib extension target of 250, super long term, but trying to identify some consolidation targets too. Okay, so it sounds like you're very long term. So I'm going to go over here to a monthly, which is more accurate for, of course, stonks. And what do we have? Well, it's actually what I do. It's probably easier to see on a weekly. We do actually have a bit of a cup and handle formation going on right here. Now, while these are likely to be bullish continuation formations, this one I would not say is confirmed until you trade above last week's high. And at that point, there actually is an implied target to be made. So let's see if it's in alignment with your 250-ish target. Let's see what that would look like. 240 to 250. Let's call it 240. So that does corroborate that. But again, it's only actionable or only confirmed as a pattern, and patterns are always inherently like fucking messy if you trade back above last week's high. But this one actually in a pretty powerful position here, I would say. I'm actually curious what the quarterly looks like. Yeah, I don't hate the quarterly. I do think that this one still has not put in highs. Obviously on lower term time frames, certainly it has, but on higher term time frames, I don't think that has put in, a major high just yet. If it does want to play out a prolonged correction, it could easily come down to 180 and put in a major low right there. Or maybe let's make that like 185, somewhere between 180 to 185. If it does want to pull back, that wouldn't be super concerning. So yeah. All right. Take another sip of this. Actually, I just caught a random comment over here. Mr. Ballista PK says, no Sakido. There's something extremely sketchy with these new shitcoins. They come out of nowhere, and I'm 100% sure government agencies are using them to make money. I don't know, maybe. I thought you were going to take that comment another way, which is why I was excited to read it. But no, it wasn't. Anyways. Tempo Ray Ray says, Sui short-term, 4-hour daily, lower short-term. Let's see. Sui 450 here. Same issue that I had earlier. Well, it's not the exact same issue. I mean, it's not, all major moving averages are not in a bearish posturing just yet. In fact, they're all still kind of in a bullish posturing, but I don't like these bounces on hammer dildos that do not reclaim, in this case, the 5 exponential, which is 474. Yeah. In the short term, yeah, I do think that this thing does have another swipe around the current lows, whether that be like 430 to 440, somewhere in that pocket there. The problem with this thing is that if you take out yesterday's low, I mean, that really is confirmation of like a major high in progress, because that's going to confirm weekly as a local high, thus confirming bearish divergence right here. And at that point, you got to target down to like 340, 330-ish region, like minimum. Maybe it even comes down to like 285, 290 if that were to happen. But again, that's if you take out yesterday's low. Like, just trade below it, especially if you close below it. Very fucking bad. For what it's worth right now, I mean, technically it's still in an uptrend, but I would express concern about this. I mean, you already see many drives of bearish divergence on the daily time frame. So to me, that's like, you see that around major highs a lot of the time when you get like that many drives. 4-hour time frame, same issue that we looked at for some of the other shitcoins. Lower high right here. You kind of have hidden bearish divergence. I mean, didn't really even confirm a local high right here, to be fair. So not really comparing like to like, but it is, I would agree, short term likely does come back down and test around those regions. The real question is, does it make a new low, and does it close below that low? That's where I would be very, 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 very skeptical of this thing, for a long time. Anyways, Peepoo says Farcoin versus Ethereum. Okay. All right. Well, that's, I guess. Elsa says, sir, you need help. You need help. Looking at this, actually bullish. I don't think you need help. I think you need more Farcoins in your life, actually. At least it's better than Ethereum, which is probably quite telling. Now, this is a 4-hour time frame. I don't know how much that actually really matters. It's very limited history right here. But again, respect the trend. Respect the trend. You got higher lows as long as you're above 10th of January lows. So it's got some room there. Weekly looks like it wants to make new highs. I mean, it already has made new highs, but could very easily continue on with this rally if the rest of the market allows for it. Maybe altcoins get to party a little bit while Bitcoin trades sideways in the mid 90s, I guess. Could be, but yeah, better than many other things, to be fair. Just, I don't know how much I trust a chart that's this new. The top the top 5 podcast. That is fucking difficult to say, man. Been keeping an eye on that flight coin on Twitter. I don't actually know what you're referencing. FLYT? No, that's not on, unless you mean fart coin, but you spelled it terribly wrong. And we've already looked at it many times, but if it's flight coin, I don't see it on TradingView, man. Anyways, Martin Hunt, good morning to you as well, sir. Could you please take a look at fart coin? Everyone's asking about farts. The fuck is going on here? Here's your fucking farts. Turns into derps. No. It turns into dumps. There you go. There's your fucking fart coin. How about that? Enjoy your fucking fart coins. This one got the gas tank to blast off. I mean, to be fair, it is probably one of the better ones. All right, that's enough. That's enough shits for there. There we go. All right. Just make sure you're eating your morning salads, I guess. Dr. Checkmate says Baidu one day. Okay. BIDU. Whoops. BI. Man, people love the fart coin. I'm guessing this is not on TradingView or it's a real stock. It's probably a real stock, actually, what you're looking for. If you could specify just, in your message or the exchange that it's on, that massively helps. Very fucking bad here. Very fucking bad. Very, 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 very bad. On basically like the last 10 years lows. I don't know if it breaks down on this move, but long term it wants to. And actually, when I look at a monthly, I think that is actually quite likely to break down here. Technically speaking, you want to see this one trade below your November of 2022 lows before really confirming a breakdown, but you do have a monthly downtrend here. There's nothing good about that. In the short term, could it rally up to like 92, 93 bucks? Yeah, but that doesn't do anything for it. That would just be another bounce before heading further south. So, it's possible for it to bounce up there first, but I'd be very fucking skeptical about this thing. Hidden bearish divergence come off this last weekly high. So, if it wants to continue, this would be the setup for it. And continuation in this case would be to the downside. If you're just looking at the daily, though, you're probably going to miss all of what I just said. So there already are lower lows, so you actually don't have regular bullish divergence here. I wouldn't rule out one more bounce attempt, but not my favorite one. Not the best one. It's hard to love a monthly downtrend. To me, it's like playing with fire. It's like, okay, you might get another bounce, but it's just more likely to be another lower high. Anyways, Mr. Ryan Kuang says, super short-term 4-hour daily. Got it, man. Is the low in? That is the question that everyone wants to know right now. Well, let's see. Yeah, we got 120 on super. Yeah, really, really good bounce off the weekly 55. I'm curious what the daily looks like. Same issue that I see on a lot of the other ones. Still below all major moving averages. Still as a silver cross to the downside. Even with yesterday's sort of hammer dildo or whatever the fuck, doji dildo, dragonfly dildo, whatever the fuck you want to call it, dildo. Still below all major moving averages. And whenever I see something like this, it's like I've just seen it happen so many times in crypto where you get a heroic bounce, but it just does not reclaim any of the major moving averages and then rolls over the next day or two. So that's kind of what I'd be concerned with here. Looking at the 5-day, looking at the weekly, I mean, maybe it retests that low. If it does want to come lower, I'd be looking somewhere around 90 cents, I guess. But I'd give it a chance to bounce here first. At least give it till the end of today. I would consider it as potentially actually good with the lows in. If it were to bounce back above and close above 130, okay, I guess my LARP lines here, or maybe my LARP lines play out in this case. But 130 is my line in the sand for this one to consider the potential that the lows are even in. And even then, I mean, it would still be in a daily downtrend. It's just, I think it'd probably put in an accumulation range here and then try up to the upside later on. But yeah. One thing before the next, and if we go down to the very, very low term time frames, do we have the same issue that we potentially have on many others? We do, because the 4-hour time frame is making higher highs on the RSI with price action currently on lower highs. So if this one confirms a local high in the 4-hour time frame, which it will below about 116 on a 4-hour closing basis, then that will confirm hidden bearish divergence, and that should give you one more swipe around the current lows at least. So just be aware of that. Until then, I think give it as well as everything else a little bit of room today to bounce, but with the way that things close today will be very very critical for me, especially if the negative side of those areas that we spoke about earlier are confirmed. I mean that makes things rather easy. Well, it's hard, but it's easy, of course. Anyways, Mr. X Ren, he says, hello, Sir Krown. Coin daily weekly, please, and thank you. Oh, please and thank you. Very, very polite, sir. Thank you. Coinbase over here. Coinbase, let's go to a daily first. I mean, it is in a downtrend right now. You do have lower lows and lower highs on the daily. What about the weekly? Weekly can still salvage itself and still is in an uptrend. Monthly, same shit. I mean, the monthly is nowhere near to confirming a downtrend. But, here's the thing. If you're bullish long term, or sorry, if you're bullish even in like the medium term over the next couple months, must hold above the red 5, which is 240 or 239 to be exact. So that suggests that the low is in. Maybe you retest that low, but you just don't want to see a lower than that. And this one should bounce a little bit more today. I suspect that it will bounce up, somewhere closer to like 265. But I would be unwilling to confidently say that this thing really wants to make a legitimate upside move as long as it's below 295. 295 is the big bad level to reclaim, essentially just back above your January 6th high. If you see something like that, okay, Coinbase, very likely safe. Very likely moves back up towards these highs at 350, probably makes new highs from there as well. Still higher term timeframes for Coinbase. I don't hate. I know a lot of people disagree with me on this one. I can be massively wrong in it, of course, but I mean, I'll put it to you this way. Like, I own Coinbase. I also own Coinbase from like fucking, $70. So maybe my sort of interpretation of it is going to be much different than other people's, but yeah, that's what I'll be saying. All right. Nice one. Moving on, we have Shaq with the combo. Nice name, sir. Very nice name. Could you check out Turbo on the weekly and monthly? Okay, Turbo coin. All right, this is kind of like a nameless shitcoin. Let's see how this one's doing. Not strong and not weak. Same issue that we saw on a couple other ones. Silver cross to the downside. On yesterday's heroic bounce, did not reclaim any major moving averages. I'm always going to be extremely skeptical whenever I see something like that, just due to past history. Like I said, at least give it till the end of today for a lot of these things. I just want to highlight the concern or the skepticism that I would have with them if it basically doesn't hold here, I guess, because this one can easily come down to half of a cent, if it does fail below yesterday's low. So as of right now, is there any sort of divergences to be aware of or potential? No. Well, no. Yeah, no, not at the current moment. What would be the price level in which I would, I guess, just be bullish? Well, it'd be back above your December 30th high or whatever the hell this number is right here. I guess just over 1 cent. Yeah, something like that. Until then, it's going to be a bit in limbo. Does still have a long-term nice uptrend, to be fair, so shouldn't hate it. But I'd be very fucking quick to flip around and being very obviously bearish on this thing. If you take out yesterday's low, this thing can easily come down to half of a cent from there, which is a pretty monstrous move from where it's currently at. If you're asking about the monthly specifically, which you did, not really enough history here to be analyzing, but same sort of thing as what I've said on some of the other higher term timeframes one. As long as you're above the red 5, you can always have hopium for the long term. The second that you start to go below it and close below it, you have to at least think correction. It is a little bit more difficult with things like this now that I look at it, just because it's so new that these moving averages actually don't really play out how I would want them to play out, to be obvious. So yeah, I can be wrong on that one. Anyways, Justin Tomiak is looking at RBNT. Okay, RBNT. All right, this is a new one. Red Belly Network. Okay, full round 12-hour. Talk dirty to me. Well, for that you can hit up my AI. Hoping the low is in. I know it's been around for a minute. I like the pump. Yeah, it's been around for literally a minute. It's been around for literally less than 1 month. I don't like this, man. Whenever I see a new shitcoin like this and it just only goes down, I'm never going to be the first one to call the low in until I see an actual reversal. And this thing is is so far away from getting an actual reversal. I mean, it doesn't even have a higher low at this point. Certainly not a higher high. I'm not saying that it can't happen from here, but I would just not be entertaining the possibility at all whatsoever of a reversal until you actually have a reversal. And even at that point, you know, you're probably going to come back at me with a counterpoint like, well, if I wait for a reversal, then I'm not going to buy the actual low. Yeah, but you're also going to save yourself the fucking pain of buying the low that continues to go lower, you know, more often than not. And you'll get close enough to the low anyways if you trade like that, at least in my experience, to the point where it can be, you know, massively fucking profitable. Yeah, I would not be calling any sort of low here, even potential. I mean, shit, man, this one's difficult because it's there's limited history, and for the history that it does have, it's quite bad. But 25 cents would be my line in the sand to even consider a potential reversal. Should pull back from there if it does, and then you got to be looking for a higher low. But these shitcoins are very difficult in this way. I'd put this one certainly on the weaker list or the weaker tier of shitcoins that we looked at today. But hey, for what it's worth, you don't have hidden bearish divergence possible on the 4-hour time frame, or at least not yet. So yeah, at least it doesn't have that. So, you know, again, what I'm probably going to say primarily today is, again, give today a chance, but I think after today, like no more excuses for anything really. Anyways, Time Attack says crypto link weekly. Got it. All right, this Chainlink. Haven't looked at Chainlink in a while. Jesus, man. From $30 to 19 and a half in a fucking snap, in a Nicholas Martin snap. Same issue here that I continue to see with a lot of these things, and this is starting to make me more and more concerned. Now, it does not have the silver cross to the downside, but closing below all major moving averages, and on yesterday's hammer dildo, I mean, it's not fucking strong. Now, does it have any sort of divergences here? Actually, unfortunately not, which would have made it easier to call for a bounce. I do still think that it could bounce intraday here, but you do have potential for hidden bearish divergence. You see the same setup on most things in the market today on the lower term time frames. There's potential for hidden bearish divergence. It is not confirmed just yet. Need to confirm a lower high. In this case, you need to come back down below 19 and a quarter and close a 4-hour dildo below there. But I don't think that's super relevant to you because you're asking for a weekly. So going back to the weekly right here, you know, even if it does break down later on, I don't think it's going to happen from like this exact area. I think it trades a little bit more sideways here and works off of these extreme conditions on a weekly BBWP. But, you know, what's your range on the weekly? Your range is almost $25 to the upside versus essentially yesterday's low, or I guess if you want to be a little bit more exact, it'd be about $18. Yeah, about 18 to 25 or so. So as long as you're between there, I guess you can have a little bit of hopium, sure. Just be aware that below yesterday's low, things very likely fall apart and fall apart fast. So that's kind of my issue with a lot of these things. It's like you're at a real fucking big turning point, potentially. So, I mean, theoretically, you have like the maximum profit opportunity for taking a long. But at the same time, you have a very proximal area, or somewhat proximal area, to be managing risk off of, essentially yesterday's lows for many of these things. Like you can treat it as a potential low in, and as long as it holds above there, but goddamn, some of these do look quite weak. Nader, or actually, let me look at the monthly just really quick. Yeah, so it's like if you are long-term bullish, you have to be looking at yesterday's low as it must be the low if you are long-term bullish. Otherwise, you have to be looking for a monthly correction here, and that's going to bring it into the low teens long-term, I guess. So things really are at like a major fucking turning point, at least in my opinion. I am, when I look at momentum oscillators here, I'm a little bit more biased towards long-term upside. So I guess that kind of helps out things a little bit, but it's not obvious to me. Anyways, Nader A says Crow USD. All right, let's check this one out. Kronos. Let's go to a daily. Again, silver cross to the downside below all major moving averages. Do we have potential for regular bullish divergence? We do, actually. We do. So there's a little bit of hopium here, but it would need to confirm a local low. How would you confirm a local low? Needs to pop back up and close above 14 cents on a daily time frame. And at that point, you probably get a bounce towards 15 and a quarter, maybe even 15 and a half. and you get to be a range player between about 17 to the upside versus yesterday's low, essentially to the downside. But going sideways would obviously be a lot more constructive than fucking going down. But again, the line in the sand is 14 or a little bit above 14. Just want to see a daily closure above there. If you see that, you're in for an extension on this bounce. I'd imagine Bitcoin would be doing the same shit as well. So probably easy to watch that. But yeah, if you're just specifically asking about the weekly, I mean, I have mixed feelings about this. I have mixed feelings. Monthly, you do have an uptrend constructed there, but this can range for a long time as well on the monthly. And that is a range high, to be fair. So if it does sell off from there, it's probably back down closer to the range lows long term. Anyways, Fadwan says, good morning, Mr. K. Good morning, sir. Sol daily weekly. Okay, got it. All right. Yeah. Sol. Another one where you have the silver cross to the downside. It closed below all major moving averages yesterday. Do we have potential for bullish divergence? No, because it actually did not close on new lows yesterday. So I guess that's kind of good. I'm not actually sure. I'm actually really not sure. But I would treat this one as still in a range, to be fair, as long as you're between 175 to the downside on a closing basis versus about 122, 123 to the upside. There could still be some hopium here, I guess, for this one. I guess playing out the LARP lines, going sideways from here is what we really want to see. Obviously, closing above yesterday's high would be a lot more confidence inducing. And at that point, you probably do see at least a bounce above $200. But, this is a long way to go right now. 4-hour time frame. Same potential setup as we see on pretty much every other crypto. But again, not confirmed, just the potential right now. With that hidden bearish divergence, that'll only be confirmed if you see this thing come back down and close below about 184. So that'd be kind of like my concerning area, I guess. Yeah. All right. We have Mr. Big Bull. He's found a new shitcoin. Very nice indeed. It's called Henlo. Henlo? What the fuck? Short-term corrective, but that's a literal 4-hour time frame. Oh, you're asking about the 4-hour time frame. Daily says you should look for a bounce here, or at least a bounce attempt, but when I look at the 4-hour time frame, I see many drives of bearish divergence come off these last few highs. So I would actually personally expect this one to come a little bit lower, somewhere in between these two major moving averages here, which is quite close to already, but at least down around there. And if things get a little more crazy, then probably this low right here. I do think it's in for a little bit of a short-term correction. Man, today we really are seeing like a massively bifurcated market. 12-hour also says that you should be looking for the low right here too. So 12-hour and daily kind of in alignment with each other. But man, I am, I don't know. I have to be skeptical as long as everything else looks the way that it does. But Bitcoin having a little bit of a bounce here. So let's see. Let's check on it. Let's check in on it. And potential to actually make a higher high on the 4-hour. Now, if it can close above, what is this? 95,400. Okay. You have the potential for the 4-hour time frame to flip into an uptrend. Of course, you need a higher low after that, but yeah, that would probably be another major opportunity. So we'll see how this one closes. If it closes, it closes another 3 hours and 47 minutes, so it's going to be a while. But if you see it close above, what was this, Sunday's high? Yeah, Sunday's high. Then you have the 4-hour flipping into an uptrend. So that's obviously not bad. All right. Let's see what else we got. We have Mr. Anderson770. He's looking at XRP. Warning, SEC final appeal due on the 15th. Is there a less redacted way to make an event other than just going full redacted? If you play a position before an event happens, you're basically trying to guess the future, because we don't know. Unless if you're like a real insider, you really don't. It's difficult to know these sort of like legal things, right? At least I certainly don't know it. But looking at XRP, to be fair, XRP has the best chart of all the majors. And again, yesterday's dump didn't even create new lows below your fucking January lows, let alone your December lows, whereas Bitcoin went below December lows. So, that does say something about XRP here. In fact, I'd even be looking at the daily time frame as more likely to try an extension of this upside move before anything else than not. You know, does it come officially back up to like 275? Probably yes. But I'd be bullish on this thing. As long as you're above 235, I would be bullish on this thing. I'm not necessarily convinced that it's going to break out exactly from here to like new all-time highs. But, you know, again, with volatility like this, I mean, it's probably more likely to go sideways here. But I do think you get a test to the top side of the range. And then, hey, if you close above the top side of the range, which is again about 273 to be fair, then I guess, yeah, you're looking at probably $3.5, $4 to follow that. Would look pretty good. But of course, with an event looming overhead, it's just so much can fucking change in such a short amount of time. You know, you just have to have your areas kind of marked off there, I guess. But again, as long as you're above 235, I would actually err on the side of bullishness here. Very bifurcated market. Some things very strong, some things very weak. Martin Hunt, apologies for the extra fart coin request. Tuned in late this morning. All good, man. Could you please look at, I'm guessing you mean Bitcoin dominance. Yeah, we can look at Bitcoin dominance. So this thing, let's just look at this from this perspective. Let me go down to a daily as well. So when I see something like this, where the daily time frame is technically in a downtrend, but just put in a higher low here, this does have another potential to reverse back onto the upside. How would you confirm a reversal back onto the upside? Needs to trade and close above, I guess, your December highs, yeah, which is about 59.25. So we'll see how high this bounce gets. If it gets above 59.25, I look at that as very likely to work its way back up, you know, around the, I guess, 61, 62% levels that we saw from November. So that would mean altcoins get the boo cake sandwich, I guess. Looking at the monthly here, still a long month left to go, but as of right now, this actually be, yeah, this would kind of be a bullish signal on the monthly. You know, the monthly has not confirmed a reversal just yet. Definitely has potential to, but for right now, it's still an uptrend. And shit, as long as you're above 58%, that's upside there, not downside. So fair enough. Yeah. Anyways, moving on, we have Big Bull. He says LMT versus Solana. Actually, I'm curious what the quarterly looks like here. Another one that's a lot more bullish than not, and a very easy and obvious way to be getting bearish on this is if you come back down below this quarter's low, which is just this month's low at 56.5%, basically. Below there, below there, yes, Bitcoin dominance will fall significantly further, you know, probably below 50%, but this is still bullish, at least as it stands right now. That's my line in the sand. Big Bull says LMT versus Solana. Okay. Don't know if this, okay. Yes, there we go. It is here. It has, as you would expect, very, very limited amount of history, but another altcoin, another shitcoin here that yesterday did not make new lows below even your January lows, let alone your December lows. So relative strength, man, you just find all these things. 4-hour time frame, I think, plays back up to the top side of the range, like 17.5 cents. I'm bullish on this thing I would be bullish on this thing as long as you're above yesterday's low. Shit, even today's low is probably enough there. And if you close above yesterday's high, I think this thing retests prior all-time highs. I think it makes new all-time highs if that happens. And Bitcoin bouncing a little bit more here as well. So I think that kind of helps the general conversation. It is now potentially going to make an actual higher high for the first time on the 4-hour time frame since about a week ago. All right, let's see. We have Patham. He says, can you check out STX USD if already checked? Hype. Yeah, we can look at STX. I actually have it on my list right here. Definitely on the weaker side. You know, I think that much is obvious. But when we look at like the long term here, the long term from a weekly perspective is just one massive range. Yeah, it is close to the range lows, but you know, could theoretically come a little bit lower towards like 1.25, and I'd still be looking for a bounce there. So whether it bounces here, whether it comes a little bit lower towards 1.25, these are bounce areas, basically between where it's at and a little bit lower right here. I'd be looking for, you know, next general move to be some attempt at upside. In the short term, I would confirm a decent bounce if it can trade and close back above 155. If you see that, okay, this thing very likely does put in a decent move, maybe even as much as $2. That would make this look like the next weekly low. But looking at the monthly, whoops, just drawing lines there, my bad. Looking at the monthly, I think either way you cut this one, whether you're bullish or bearish, you're probably waiting for a long time. You're probably most likely to see something like this if it is going to be bullish, and if it is going to be bearish. I mean, still, I think it spends a lot of time in here consolidating. So, yeah. All right. What else we got? We have Davey. He says Pippin, full hour. So Scottie Pippen has his own shitcoin, which is... just seems weird to me, I guess. But anyways, I guess everyone has their own shitcoins nowadays, except for me. 4 hour time frame. To be fair, it's a better chart than most things, which is fucking crazy, dude. Just fucking crazy. God. Again, another chart that hasn't made new January lows, let alone fucking new lows from December on yesterday's bounce. This thing is relatively strong compared to most things that we've looked at today. I know it sounds crazy, but it is, or at least that's my opinion. I do think that you're in a bit of a short-term consolidation range right here between 13 cents and 26.5 cents. And I think that you spend some time here as well, something like this, but it's an uptrend on all time frames, so it's hard to hate. It is quite new, so I always want to highlight that. It always kind of takes back from the potential optimism. But as it stands right now, I mean, if Bitcoin shows a bounce, this thing is going to retest those highs, I think. But yeah. Likely sideways in the short term, and I'm not bearish on this as long as it's above, let's call it 13 cents. Below 13 cents, okay, yeah, I'd be looking for a reversal back down. Wow, below 10 cents, Jesus, that shit gets real fucking fast on this one. But I'm sure the fundamentals are great. Anyways, calamity. Thanks, Hart, Daily, Weekly, Arnold, or Urkel. Actually don't understand that reference, to be honest, man. Heart, humans tether. Okay, it's an interesting name. Let's see, daily and weekly. Okay, so we do have a lot of history here, and at least it does have a general uptrend long term. Weekly, same thing as well. And weekly has a very obvious sort of range going on right here too, with your highs at about just over 5 cents and your lows obviously down here at about 0.7 of a cent. You're a lot closer to the highs than not. Is it going to come up and officially test these highs? I think it could very easily do that. Maybe not very easily do it, but it could do that. You still have, again, another shitcoin here that did not make new lows on yesterday's dump, below even your fucking January lows. I mean, that is very interesting to me. Very fucking interesting. And you do have an uptrend here, at least for right now. So here's a short-term range between, it's like 3 cents or a little bit under 3 cents to the downside versus, your highs over here. To the upside at about 420, nice number. So what do I think is going to happen? I think you're going to trade sideways here for a little bit, and if you claim 420, I think you retest your highs from March of 2024, and at that point it's. I mean, it could very easily break out and put in like a real major move. But for now, that's kind of how I'd look at it. Just a nice daily range. It can be. I would be bullish as long as you're above. Again, what was it? Just above 3 cents. Until then, I mean, if that gets taken out, okay, yeah, it comes down a lot, but tough area right there. Whoops, got my damn drawing tools still out and flying around. Anyways, let me take another sip of this water, and then we'll get to Shaq with the combo. Are you long-term bullish on Lizzo to buy 165,000 in groceries through the year to help Bitcoin's momentum towards that 165,000 price level? Yes. And here's a live feed of Lizzo after the grocery trip. I'm gonna get banned. Yeah, that's right. You can't talk shit about fatties, or you can't talk shit about discussing fat people, I guess. Look, I'm kidding. I'm making a joke. Okay, don't think fat people are actually disgusting, but she is pretty disgusting, honestly. I mean, to be fair. Anyways, just my opinion. Okay, I'm entitled to my opinion. You can't force people to like other people romantically or think that they're attractive. No amount of compassion will make me attracted to her. Maybe I shouldn't say no amount. I mean, let's get off this fucking topic. Anyways, VC says RSR daily weekly. Okay, RSR. There we go. Daily and weekly, not an example of the strongest one long term, but in the short term, again, another fucking shitcoin that did not make new lows below your January lows or your December low. No, it did make new January lows, but it did not make new December lows. So still, kind of in a better position than Bitcoin, to be fair. In terms of relative strength, here's a range between, let's just call it 1 cent to the downside versus 1.8 to the upside. You're about in the middle of that. I do think that you could have a little bit of a short-term downside test here, but I would give a chance for this thing to put in a higher low. Anything above 1 cent will be fine. So if it does come back down, look for like a curling action like this. If you see that, that would be good. That would be a good indication that it's going to come back up, retest these range highs, and very likely continue on with the general rally. If the bounce does not and it comes back down around this prior low, again, just around about a cent, exactly a cent, that is, then, well, this starts to look a lot more like distribution to me. But let's see, what did the higher term timeframes look like? Yeah, a lot of things coming off of major moving averages on the weekly, so it's hard to get like real legitimate breakdowns right here. Same thing on the monthly as well. I mean, theoretically, again, it could come a little bit closer to $1, but just don't want to see it below $1. Monthly, you do have a reversal, but sold off pretty aggressively from those range highs. So give it a chance. I just want to see it create a higher low. So again, 1 cent line in the sand on a closing basis. Crypto Rect RD says Sui or Solana. I think we've actually done both, but I can go back to Sui here because Sui. It's fine. I'm not doing shit today anyway. So Sui is very interesting to me here because Sui is the closest thing it's not the closest thing because most things have already confirmed major highs, but this thing, you can make a bullish bias for it because all timeframes are still technically in an uptrend, but you see the writing on the wall for this rally ending, like, in my opinion, probably soon. You're coming off of extreme BBWP values right here. You do have the potential for bearish divergence on the weekly. The weekly jewel is already turning down. This can drag on for a while where like it drags on a little bit lower, then bounces and then gets the real down signal. So I wouldn't rule out, a nice bounce somewhere in the not so distant future, but I'd be very skeptical on this thing as long as you're below 5.25. And again, below yesterday's low, to me, that's like no more opium on this one. Be expecting the weekly bearish divergence to play out when that, if that were to happen. Until then, I guess you can still kind of look at this one with rose tinted glasses, because it still would be holding an uptrend, but that's where that whole thing gets destroyed. Crypto Shart. I'm surprised you didn't ask about Fartcoin. Algo BTC on the daily weekly. Love you long time. I love you too as well. Long time. Algo. Okay. I remember this one from prior cycle shitcoins. And where's your weekly range? It's right here. Range high. It sold off from there, but not a death sentence. Again, did not make new January lows. Or did it make new January lows? No. It did. It did slightly, but not new December lows. Yeah, very, very strange day. Very strange day that we're witnessing. Anyways, this thing. Let's go over here to the 5-day. I do think that you're more likely to carry on with the range, whether this thing bounces in the short term or comes a little bit to the downside in the short term as well. I think you're generally going to be doing something like this, man. It's going to spend at least another month within this range, I suspect. If it is going to be bullish, if it's going to be bearish, it probably breaks down sooner than that. But 28 cents is my line in the sand. Basically, your spike low from middle of December. As long as you're above there, would still be running with an overall upside bias. Your trends to the upside are still intact, but the second that you start to lose that, that's when you get a weekly swing top confirmed, and this thing would come down below 20 cents, I suppose. So give it some time to shake itself out. Again, when you hit extremes like this on weekly BBWP, I wouldn't be expecting like a tremendously massive move breaking a range like this anytime soon until it comes down closer to 50 at least. Some cases that doesn't happen, but that is the general rule. Anyways, take another sip of this. Let's actually see what it looks like on a very high term time frame. Yeah, quarterly could easily come down to like 28, 29 cents and still bounce there. I'd probably give it a chance to do that. You do have a quarterly higher low in place after all, so have to respect the very, very long term, I guess. Anyways, we have Crypto Rect RD. He says OM USDT. Okay. OM USDT. Got it. Fucking hell, man. What the actual fuck? Okay, this thing has basically not moved since middle of November, but you have to give it credit for having massive relative strength compared to most things that we've seen today. Not really giving up any gains. Or okay, sorry, I take that back because this is on log scale, I'm guessing. Yeah. Okay, I mean, it's still not bad. I mean, this is not unreasonable as far as the range goes. Still got your higher lows as long as you're above your December 30th low, essentially. As long as you're within this range, I mean, I'd still be bullish on it, man. I know it sounds fucking crazy, but I can tell you exactly where I get bearish on this thing. Below last month's low. Okay, yeah, this whatever the fuck this biblically impressive rally is, that's where I'd say, hey, it's over for a long time. But until that happens, I've learned my lesson with trying to guess when parabolic trends end. Just go with the trend until it proves you otherwise. Which means you're not going to get at the exact high, but like I said, below last month's low, your December 9th low. That's the line in the sand. Just even a tick below there, I suspect. Then you have like a real monthly reversal. I mean, Jesus, this thing could come down to like $2 if that were to happen. RSI reads like this is what I mean. The signs are there, but my personal rule is respect the trend until proven otherwise. So do with that as you will, sir. You're back again, and you're looking at SDU. Okay. SDU. We already looked at Solana, so I think all good there. Did I type that right? SDUSDT. Okay. SDUSDT. Yeah. Okay, that works, I guess. Stater Labs. Weekly good. Actually, impressively, this is like the fucking opposite of many things that we've seen today. Yeah, weekly actually quite impressive here. Looks to me to be playing off of a higher low. You have kind of the reverse scenario that we see on a lot of the shitcoins on the daily time frame, where you have a silver cross on the weekly and it's above all major moving averages. So I actually look at this as good. Probably going to test the top side of this range again, somewhere closer to like 150, 160. If you start to close above there on a weekly time frame, then you got a real breakout on your hands. And this thing can move. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see it around like $2.5, $3 if that were to happen. But one thing before the next, test around here first, see what happens. If it reclaims, great. If it doesn't, then I guess caution for at least another pullback. But yeah, in the short term, I'd get bearish on it below your last higher low, which is about 93 cents. So yeah, crazy one, man. All right. Tobo says stock IonQ. Nice. Okay. IonQ. Whoa, not nice. Not nice indeed. When I see something like this, I do think that a bounce is coming like very soon, whether it comes from, pretty much where it's at right now, or maybe it goes a little bit lower first towards like 25 to 22. It's in for a bounce relatively soon, but this is like your traditional parabolic blow off top leading into a bull trap. I can almost guarantee you're going to see something like this. Maybe it doesn't get this high, but somewhere in this vicinity here, you're going to see a big rally. Everyone's going to get super fucking bullish again, and then it's going to be a bull trap. But this has the makings. This has the writing of like a major macro high for a very long time, despite a probably quite sizable sizable bounce coming, maybe even a 2x bounce. Looking at volatility indicators, I mean, this thing hit extremes on pretty much every time frame and had some bearish divergence on the weekly as well. I mean, this one, I don't think this one's going and making new highs anytime soon, man. But I do think you're in for a bounce relatively soon. I would just be skeptical as fuck on that bounce. Anyways, Playback says POW on Gate.io. POW. Okay, got it. All right. Another weekly range play right here. Another one that did it make new lows? It did make new January lows, but not new December lows. Range highs, range lows, actually acting decently well here. To be fair, would like to see it close above yesterday's high, which is 30, let's just call it 39 cents. If you close above there, I'd be looking for another retest of the range highs at about half a buck, 50 cents. Here's what a monthly looks like. Monthly looks a lot more like this one wants to range for some time. To be fair, I don't really know what time frame you're going off of yourself because you didn't specify, but do we have any sort of potential? You actually do have potential for hidden bullish divergence here. You did make lower lows on daily RSI compared to the lows from 1st of January. So, if you do pop back up above yesterday's high and close above there, I'd be looking for a decent move back up to the top side of the range, which is a very big percentage move, probably in a short time as well. But until then, if it fails to reclaim that today, I mean, that would be quite telling to me. I'd be looking for this one to probably fill this wick in over here and probably just come back down overall towards quarter. But one thing before the next, man. All right, we have Justin Tomiak. He's back. He's looking at D-Sync. Okay, D-Sync. All right, I guess we go to this one. We'll have to fact check. I think you called that low perfectly at 30 cents. Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, yeah, it did come to 30 cents. Yeah, the the LARP lines are right here. Holy shit. My timing was off, though. No, of course, I don't actually, there's no way to do timing, but yeah, hit pretty much exactly right there. I'm looking for obvious signals, though, for something like this. What do we have that's obvious? Okay, maybe lower term timeframes have the same issue as many things that we've seen today. This one is still on a lower high as of right now, so it does have potential for hidden bearish divergence, but not confirmed until you're back down below about 37 cents on a closing basis. So it did fill that 30-cent region. Okay, so let's assume that the hidden bearish divergence does not get confirmed, which we just went over. If this thing can close back above yesterday's high, I would say, okay, that's the low. That's the low, and you're probably going to work your way up closer to half a buck relatively soon after that. Okay, yeah, about half a buck, 45 to 50 cents. Higher term timeframes are not super obvious to me. Also, very limited amount of history as usual. It is what it is with cryptos, but I'd give it a chance here. Kind of similar to the same thing that I've been saying for Bitcoin in most of these things today. Today is like the chance to confirm at least a major low, maybe even the low, but needs to close above yesterday's high. And for Bitcoin, that means, I mean, if Bitcoin closes above yesterday's high, yeah, that would be pretty good. Or it just needs to close above about 95. All right. Let's see. Arthur says, beam, please, Zur. Weather sucks in Finland at the moment. Need some hopium to brighten the day. Hey, you're Finnish as well? Nice, man. Arthur is not a very Finnish name, though. You must be an expat like me. Anyways, beam. We will look at beam. All right. I guess we go to this one. I don't know if this is going to be brighten your day, man. I'm not so sure about this one, sir. Long term, absolutely fucking hate it. Short term, also don't like it. Below all major, I mean, this thing could bounce. Like, let's say that the rest of the market has a big bounce, like Bitcoin bounces up to 99 or 100,000 bucks. This thing could bounce up to 6 cents. It'd still be in a downtrend. That's the problem with something like this. It has so much work to do to even be in like a remotely good posturing. But I guess, right now you kind of have to give a chance for things to bounce. I'm looking for something obvious here, but I'm not getting it. We have no divergence to be spoken of. I really don't think it would take too much to get this thing on a bounce here. But again, just be cognizant of lower highs below 6 cent. So if you, I guess maybe it's a little more likely to bounce here. I don't feel as confident on that at all, by the way. But something like this, if it does, and if it doesn't, then just, I guess, just down from here. But it's already been beaten up quite a fair bit. Like, it doesn't take too much to get a bounce when you have momentum oscillators looking like this. Like, it is what it is. Anyways, we have daily, please. Yes. Crypto Shark next. He's in last. He's looking at FET. Okay. Okay, we'll go over here. Let's see, and that'll kind of stick around a little bit for the chats as well. What time is your class?
I don't have it.
Oh, I thought you had a class. All right, well, whatever. All right. Weekly is just one massive range. So that's kind of where it's at in the grand scheme of things. Where's your range low? It's basically here, but I'd like a nice green horizontal bar just for uniformity's sake. So about 82 and a quarter versus 210 to the upside. Short term is more likely to come to, do you have any divergences here? You have higher lows on RSI, you have lower lows on price, very slightly. So I guess give it a chance to bounce. I think you'll at least bounce towards like 130-ish region. But I want to see it close above yesterday's high before calling for any sort of, greater bounce. I guess at that point, you might see like 150 to 155, but just like a lot of the other ones in these weekly ranges, I think you're going to be going sideways in these ranges for at least a little while longer, something like this, whether it bounces or not, and if it comes back down closer to, 80, 85 cents, it's probably a good area. If you do want to be a buyer, or at least that's kind of how I'd be thinking if I was playing ranges here. Not necessarily because it's guaranteed to work out, but because if you're going to be wrong, you're very close to the point in which you'd be managing risk, or at least where I'd be managing risk, because the obvious point would be your August lows here. So, yeah. All right. I see another one. Razvan says multiverse. Okay. EGLD. All right. EGLD. UST. All right. Binance. Not fucking good long term. Oh, jeez, man. Sir? Yeah, this one deserves a nuke, honestly. I do think now that we've kind of looked at a bunch of shitcoins today again is need to give things a little bit of breathing room to bounce here and see where things close today. But I'd say this one's definitely on the weaker side of things. Until it closes back above, not even yesterday's high, but I would even say $34.50 on a daily time frame. I'd probably be looking for more downside. See, do you have any divergences here? Okay, actually, you do have some bullish divergence potential. So it just needs, if it just pops back up above like 33 or so, you're probably going to play at that divergence. You probably see a move towards like 30, 36 or so. Still in a range on the daily, which would be about 39 to the upside versus, your lows of yesterday to the downside. But, long term, in my experience, it's never good to be making excuses for a chart that looks like this. I highly doubt this thing used to trade at like $300. I don't think it's going to be getting there, or at least anytime soon. So, yeah. All right, go close them. Lander Bayer says lunar on the weekly. Okay, we can do that very quick. I just did that one. All right. Is this on TradingView? I don't see it actually. Is this a stock? Maybe. Probably yes. Do you want to look at the monthly? So popped up to prior closing highs, sold off from there. So it looks like it's probably going to be a range play. Short term, does it continue with the bounce? It could very easily continue with the bounce towards 18.5, $19. But I would say on this one, as long as you're below 20, let's call it, this one's more likely to play out another downside move, probably closer to 12.5, $13, let's call it. So while I do think short term, you probably do get a bounce, maybe even all the way up here, I think you eventually come back down. Weird one on the monthly, to be fair. But yeah, 5-day looks like a top here. Whoops, let me just see. Do we have bearish divergence? We do. Yeah. I'd feel quite confident saying that this one might have a short-term bounce, yes, but that very likely comes back down closer to 14 to 12 regions, somewhere around there. So yeah. All right. Let's see. I'll check out some of the chats. Don't super long-term TA. Okay. Super long-term. I mean, I'm guessing you mean super, like super this thing. Long-term TA. So for me, that's a quarterly, monthly and quarterly. Monthly. Got pretty close to the 21 on this pullback. It is back above the red 5 now. So you can, like I say, if you're in an uptrend, you can always have hopium for continuing that uptrend, especially as long as you're above the red 5 exponential moving average right here. There are some concerning things about this, though. It's a long month left to go. There is potential for confirming bearish divergence if it closes below last month's low. So last month's low is 123. So we're talking about long term here, as you wanted. Quarterly says if you're going to be long term bullish, you should expect the low to already be in. So basically, that says no monthly closure below the 5, which is again let's call it 121. It's very close to it right now. Obviously, 17 days left in the trading month to go, but if you're bullish, I mean, that is kind of the line in the sand for the very, very long term right there. That also means if you come back down below this month's low, that would be another easy way to confirm that this thing is going to come significantly I think it would come much below $1, like 80 to 90 cents. Okay, maybe that's not much below, but it is a big percentage move, to be fair. Yeah, I'd want to see it first, though. I'd give it a chance. Like I said, today is a chance to forgive and give chances too. Is the cycle top coming in late Q1? If Bitcoin were to continue from here, like early on in January, I would say probably yes. But with the way that it's acting right now, it makes me think that we're probably going to see, if you are bullish, at best you're going to see a range for a while, and so you're probably going to spend most of Q1 consolidating, I would suspect, with tries to the upside and the downside, but not really going too far, because this low of the month already, I mean, if Bitcoin were to put in a nice green dildo before end of month, I mean, it would pull up the 5 exponential to meet the low. So you would get that reconnect. And that'd probably happen if Bitcoin closed above 100,000, I would suspect. That does set it up for continuation, but that still wouldn't even come until minimum February, maybe March. But then, like, are you just going to get 1 month of continuation? I think I'd probably flip my projection to instead of Q1, it'd be the first half. So the next quarter. But maybe that's wrong again. Like the biggest counterpoint to looking for a macro high on Bitcoin anytime before essentially October, November, December of this year is the timing of the cycles. I mean, these have been the most consistent things for Bitcoin since the dawn of time. Is it always going to work like that? I don't fucking know, but it has been working with 100% with like 100% fucking hit rate. It's hard to go against something like that. So yeah. Anyways, the longer that Bitcoin spends sideways, I think the more likely it does go into the end of the year. All right. Yes, XRP, very, very long ago, sir. It'll be in the what's it called? The timestamps later on. Mr. Bear Nutrition's on top of that as always. All right, for oddly satisfying, we'll do the last one. And welcome to the K, Mr. Board Cabby. Mubi versus Wrapped Ethereum. Is there bullish divergence with? So you can't ever have bullish divergence or any divergence on a wick because an RSI does not include wicks in its calculation. It only includes closures. It's actually a very easy way to tell if someone like knows what the hell they're talking. Okay, this thing is also not on TradingView. Probably not a good sign. I do see it versus the dollar, not versus Ethereum. So we'll look at that. Ugly as fuck long term, like just garbage, man. This is absolute fucking garbage. Is there bullish divergence here? No, there's not, because it's first off, it didn't close on new lows. It also doesn't really seem to trade pretty much ever. It's been around since 2021 and has done fuck all. I mean, this is what you can expect from most shitcoins throughout their life cycle. And if you want to put on log scale, here's what it looks like. I'm never going to be bullish on something like this. Can it get pops here and there? Sure, it can get pops, but even getting back above like 2 cents, I think would be a massive fucking endeavor. So just my take, just my opinion. Anyways, not I said Mubi, not Mobi. Okay, relax, bro. Relax. Mubi. All right. Well, look at this piece of highly esteemed technology right here. Is there bullish divergence there? Let's see. No, because RSI made lower lows. RSI made lower lows with price action. So no, you cannot have regular bullish divergence there. But if you do close back above yesterday's high, it should bounce. Could get an easy bounce towards like 2.5 cents if that were to happen. Long term, not a whole hell of a lot better than the last chart, to be honest. It just lacks the long-term history in which I suspect this one will actually follow with. But of course, I can be wrong about that. You know, you are within one massive weekly trading range, to be fair, and you just came off the lows of it. So you should give it a chance to bounce here. Maybe it plays back to the midline of the range at about 3 cents or so, but hard one to love long term when it does something like this. Weekly trend is down, although it is in a range, but lower highs below 4.5 cents, very problematic long term. Very problematic indeed. STX, we looked at it earlier. So Utelin is all in on Mubi. I would be all in on Mubi because I actually just instead of just lighting money on fire, I'd rather just buy this, honestly. Seems more fun. Yeah, I wouldn't be calling it. All right, we'll do the last of the last for MTM. He's looking at GOAT. Is this Goatius? Maybe you should pin my message, she says. Goatius Maximus. Great name, terrible chart. Again, a lot of these things, it's not going to take too much to get them on a bounce, especially with Bitcoin bouncing a little bit here too. You know, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing bounce towards 45 cents. But that is another lower high, man. Like, shit that looks like this, I think is topped out for a very long time. Here's the real chart. I don't think this thing is going to new all-time highs, to be honest. I think most of these meme coins are they're done. And you're going to get pops, like you're going to get big moves, to be fair, to the upside, but they're probably not going to hold. It's probably just going to be another lower high. I mean, it could very easily look something like this. Boom and boom. Anything below... let's just call it 69 cents because it's a nice easy round number to remember, is long-term bearish. But that, you know, you could get an impressive bounce there, to be fair. So I don't know if that's relevant to you or not. All right. That's where we'll end things for today. Thank you for that, Mr. RedX and Crypto Alchemist. Very nice indeed. That shitcoin chart makes me want to put my derp in a wood chipper. Put my derp. I think you mean my derps. My derps. That's what I think of when I hear the word derp. But yeah, let's go back to Bitcoin here, just because I did have a little bit of a rally here since we began our first analysis. Got 3 hours left on this 4-hour dildo to close. So I guess I wouldn't be making any sort of projections about it just yet. And there are reasons to think that this will bounce more. I mean, we do see 6 hour Joule is actually given a pretty good upside signal here. I really want to see it first close on a new high, then maybe pull back a little bit, and then put in a decent bounce. And could easily bounce up. Like I said, 97 to 98. I think 100 would be like a maximum bounce, but yeah, fair enough. Anyways, that's what we'll do it for today. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone to join on in. It's always fun to do these. I suspect we'll do another one on Friday. I think Friday live stream. I think I'm going to keep this schedule for a little while. Tuesday and Friday. It seems pretty fun. I've been having a lot of fun doing these live streams. I learn a lot from these live streams as well. And yeah, we'll end things there for the day. As always, I'd like to wish you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully